The one and only Ahmed Ali. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
And then I started doing more research and I found you, and I hate doing a video, but the coaching calls was one of the things. And then you had another video that caught my eye where it was specific, outside the PMP, but I knew this is real content. This is things that will be on exam, right?
I did hard work for sure, but I think the follow-up, sir, you did. I don't know how you managed to do the follow-up. With one particular student like me, you have hundreds of students. You're just keeping an eye on each of the students. So after my hard work, I can say that the credit goes to you, sir. That is for sure.
Hi Amir, good morning. Yes, I cleared the exam. Thank you so much for your support. And this has happened only because of that customized roadmap and mocks, and you always keep on asking us to do proper RCA, detailed RCA. It happened only because of the detailed RCA. Yes, this RCA helped me a lot.
Thank you for all this guidance and support you gave me. Mr. Amir, thanks for our team.
So I was just looking at his post, who cleared the PMP, and he used to post the success stories on daily basis. So I reached out to Alina and I asked her how's his program or something. So she said you can trust him and you should join this program if you are looking for it.
It was a very customized base feedback that I was getting from sir, from you.
So yes, follow-up is very important, and thank you very much for that. It made me accountable. If you didn't ask me this often, I would have slacked off more.
I would say your course was super important. I think this was the main part, once you understand the course, and then I think the mocks were super important. Your emphasis on mocks, you kept nagging us that, get this mock done, do RCA. All of this was super helpful because questions were they were similar. So yeah, mocks were, there are so many mocks that you have, and if you do all of them, I'm pretty sure anybody who goes, who does them can easily clear a team.
Amir, first of all, thank you so much. I think without your guidance, it took me 1 year, one complete year. I was preparing for PMP through books and everything. So I was giving some mocks also available online, and I was not able to, have that confidence that I'll be able to clear. But I'm telling you, after attending the classes, especially after doing the mocks, doing the RCAs, I was feeling confident enough that yes, I can attempt it. And the day you told me to book your exam, I still asked you that are you sure that I can give the exam? And you said yes, you are ready.
First of all, I thank you a lot for the privilege, because when I started encounter with your program through LinkedIn, so some of your thoughts, always motivating me, I can do it. So I always follow you, almost everything, all your journeys. I watch all of them, even the one that they speak in your local language.
So that was not an easy journey, and it would not be possible without you. I really appreciate the support. He was always available for my questions and always put me in the right direction. And actually, if I want to say how was the journey, my journey started 2 years back when I first called you for the SP, and then you directed me to PMP, and then we did SP after that, and then you tricked me to do the PGMP.
Thank you so much, and again, Amir, thank you so much, and your mocks are really good. I mean, please, everyone should do your mocks for sure, and then they will be all prepared for the exam. And trust your program.
And then you came with your follow-ups, and that kind of really boosted me. Those daily follow-ups, making sure that I was getting the mocks that I needed to do completed, and following up on me, it really boosted my motivation again. And as I was started doing those mocks, I got an opportunity for a job which required me to have PMP, so I had to go for PMP before I get the interview.
Mostly coaching goal is for you understand how you will solve the question. Mostly it is like that. We can only do the 10 or 12 questions, maybe less than that. But main thing is it will come into your bones that you have to do elimination technique. So you cannot go just, okay, this is the answer, I will go directly put this answer. That is the main thing. It will come into you that you have to do elimination technique. That is the best thing for coaching all.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, with the right guidance from yourself, I managed to do good in the exam and to clear the PMP. I would say that your approach was really helpful because I'm not that type of a person who would sit there and read a lot of theoretical things to get things done. I'm more of a practical person who would prefer practicing over sticking to the theoreticals. And
I would definitely say that the root cause analysis for me was the key. And here's why. Is some people try so hard to memorize all the processes and how they're all linked together. And if you do this, then you got to do that. And some people, maybe they think that way. That was very hard for me. It was just a lot to memorize. I'm not Amer Ali. I can't do that. So for me, just the process of actually answering the questions with your technique of process of elimination. And then when you're left with always like two answers, which one do you do? And if you get it wrong, you have to go do the root cause analysis. So thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you very much for everything. Fantastic. I would not have done as well as I had done if I hadn't had the foundation that you gave me, for sure.
Who here wants to be successful? Raise your hands.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the people who have joined this session from around the globe. So this is Jane Martina from Amir Ali's team. So today we are going to see 10 questions from PMP to be solved, which is basically from Agile. So without much further delay, let's go back to the solving session. So as you know, you can enter your answers in the comment section, and we can discuss, right? Okay. Without further delay, let's move on to the session. So here goes the first question of this session. AgriMotion Robotics is developing an autonomous crop inspection drone. Hardware development follows a predictive schedule due to supplier contracts, while software evolves iteratively. The CTO worries that misaligned schedules between mechanical and AI teams will delay field trials. The lead architect indicates that integration points are unclear and prior attempts to synchronize work resulted in unexpected delays. Meanwhile, the sponsor stresses that the product must demonstrate value before the next investor review. How should the project manager tailor the delivery approach? Options are A. Apply iterative planning across both hardware and software teams, aligning them under a single cadence while capturing integration variance through shared reporting. Option B. Maintain a predictive cycles for software agreed upon jointly with architecture. C. Consolidate both streams under predictive planning to reduce integration uncertainty while ensuring investor expectations are met with traceable milestones. D. Separate all risk management activities for hardware and software streams so interdependent threats do not overlap, allowing clearer monitoring. So let's go with the timer, and once the timer is done, we will see how to decode this question and identify the answer through elimination technique. So here goes the timer. Yes. So as few of you has typed in the comment section, let's go and dig into the question. Let's try to understand the question, because when the question is more than 3 lines, you will be reading the last line of the question first, and then we will be trying to identify the keywords, and then we will be trying to eliminate the options to figure out the right options, right? Okay, so let's go with the last line first. How should the project manager tailor the delivery approach? Okay, so let's go back to the question. They are developing an autonomous crop inspection drone. So that is, they have two departments. One is hardware, and another one is an AI team, which is like they both has to integrate and work together. Okay, the hardware development follows predictive. Okay, while software evolves iteratively, that means it is a hybrid situation. They have predictive for hardware development and software for agile for software development. So the CTO is worrying that the schedules between the mechanical, the hardware, and the AI team will delay field trials. So the lead architect indicates that integration points are unclear, and prior attempts to synchronize work resulted in unexpected delays. So they are saying that integration points are unclear, and attempts to synchronize work has resulted in unexpected delays. So in this situation, there is also a stress from the sponsor that the product must demonstrate value before the next investor review. So from this situation, how the project manager will tailor the delivery approach, how to ensure that delivery happens. Okay, so let's go back to the option A. It says iterative planning across both hardware and software teams, aligning them under a single cadence while capturing integration variants through shared reporting. But here it is an hybrid where the hardware follows predictive, software follows agile. So this option is more lean towards only one approach, which is agile for both hardware and software. So this may not be a tailored delivery approach for the PM. So we'll eliminate that option. We'll go to the option B. Maintain a predictive plan for hardware. Yes. While organizing iterative cycles for software. Yes. Coordinating integration through structured checkpoints agreed upon jointly with architecture. So this seems to be like addressing all the pain points of the question. So it says how they have to handle hardware side, how the software side has to be handled, how the checkpoints has to be agreed jointly with the architecture team, so that they all align together. So this seems to be the best option, but we should always check for the option C and D, eliminate it completely, and then go with the option. So C, consolidate both streams under predictive planning to reduce integration uncertainty while ensuring investor expectations are met with traceable milestones. This is leaning more towards predictive planning, so you can eliminate that option. And option D says you maintain separate all risk management activities for hardware and software streams, so interdependent threats do not overlap, allowing clearer monitoring. Here it is not only about the risk, it is about how you deliver the entire product as such. So on using identifying which cycle this scenario falls under, and then we have identified the keywords and the pain points from the question, and for the question that has been answered, we have followed the elimination technique and we figured out option B stands out best. So yes, B is the right option. Let's move on to the next question. So if you have any queries or any clarifications, you can put it in the chat box. We can discuss. Okay. So the next question is, at Heliogene Diagnostics, the Agile team is preparing for sprint planning to enhance its AI-assisted pathogen detection engine. Two senior engineers, Myra and Darren, present conflicting architectural approaches. Myra argues the adaptive learning layer must run cloud side to meet regulatory model traceability rules. Darren believes offline processing is essential due to device bandwidth restrictions. The conversation grows increasingly tense, and other team members hesitate to contribute. The product owner is waiting to confirm the sprint goal but cannot proceed until the team choose a direction. What is the best first action for the agile team lead? So here the question is more like, what is the best first action for the agile team lead? Okay, so A, highlight previous architectural discussions and encourage the engineers to revisit established design decisions, allowing the team to align naturally over time. Option B, explore both viewpoints with the team through a collaborative investigation of trade-offs, focusing on empirical evidence and experimentation while keeping sprint goal formation on hold. Option C, invite the product owner to share business implications of both approaches so the team can converge through value-oriented reasoning. Option D, allow the debate to continue within a controlled time frame to promote autonomy even if sprint planning extends longer than expected. So let's go with the timer and then we will come back and decode the question. Okay, so let's go back to this question. First of all, when the question is more than 3 lines or if more information related to agile or software technical terms are mentioned in the question, first of all, you have to classify it as in a very basic layman term that they do have both different approaches. Okay, so that is the key here. It is not about whether we know about the technical aspect or not is not a concern over here. It is about how this scenario was presented in the question and how it has been approached. Okay, so here they have a diagnostic center where they develop AI assisted pathogen detection engine. Okay, so that is the project that the team is working on. So in their team they have two senior engineers, and the keyword here is they are presenting conflicting architectural approaches, which is more towards the technical aspect of the problem. Okay, so that is the main emphasis of this question scenario. It is not whether they don't know the approach or something. They both have different idea about architectural approaches. Okay, so Myra argues adaptive learning layer must run cloud side to meet regulatory model traceability rules. Darren believes offline processing is essential due to device bandwidth restrictions. So one wants to go on the cloud and the other wants to remain offline with the restriction of the bandwidth. So this keeps on going to and fro, and it is increasing the tension between the team members. And the product owner is waiting to confirm the sprint goal, but cannot proceed until the team choose a direction. So it is not about what user stories they have to work on. It is how they have to work on. Okay, this is the catch here. This is a key catch here. So with this, we will go to the options. Okay, option A here, it highlights previous architectural discussions and encourage engineers to revisit established design decisions, allowing the team to align naturally over time. But this is not about this can be an option because you have a previous architectural discussions have been going on, and then finding out the best is okay, but that is how they agree to do on. It is an actual thing the team can work on. This can be an option, or there can be any other options as well. So let's go to the option B. They are exploring both viewpoints with the team through a collaborative investigation of trade-offs, focusing on empirical evidence and experimentation while keeping sprint goal formation on hold. Normally, we won't encourage the sprint goal to be kept on hold, but still, this option is having the most PMI aligned option, which is like going through a collaborative investigation of trade-offs. So that means focusing on empirical evidence. That means how each of the approach will have a result in their uh, implementation of this particular solution. Okay, so this has that they take some time to explore and come up with the option until their options are finalized, their sprint goal formation on hold. Okay, let's go to the option C. Invite the product owner to share business implications of both the approaches so the team can converge through value oriented reasoning. This seems to be like a more of an agile mindset, right? But I have one particular concern about this option where it shares like to share the business implications of both approaches. Unless they technically figure out how this technical issue is being sorted out, you will not know whether it is going to result in business implication or not, how it is going to impact that, whether relying on the cloud or relying offline is going to impact the entire output of the business is not given in the question. So this can also be a good option. Let's go to the option D. Allow the debate to continue within a controlled time frame to promote autonomy, even if sprint planning extends longer than expected. This cannot be a good option because they have to come up with something to work on. So we have eliminated option D first. And when you consider A, B, and C, C tends to be like more towards a business implication where that is not a concern over here. And if you see B, it is aligning more with the PMI framework of collaborating investigation. But if that is the only thing that has been planned for the sprint goal, then I think they have to use this option to explore, and then based on the experimentation they can decide on how the sprint goal is going to be. Because without coming up with this solution, without finding a solution, they cannot go on for the sprint goal. Okay, so this takes a little precedence over option C. If you have difference of opinion in this question, you can always raise this in your register WhatsApp group where you have added there. You can check with your coaches. We can further discuss on. Okay, so based on our approaches discussion of elimination, option B stands one step higher than option C, so we are going with option B, right? Okay, let's move on to the next question. So before that, let me just look into the comment from one of our viewers. Yes, Agile team lead will act as facilitator here and invite PO to explain pros and cons of both approaches to team to maintain the value of the product. Yes, but the problem here is not with the business output of approach of this technical issue. So that is why they have to come to a conclusion about which approach can hold better. It is about using of cloud run storage or offline processing. Because of that, it is more towards technical alignment, so it may or may not have business implication. First they need to have a like here experimentation, that's what it is given. So with that experimentation, with the empirical evidence, they will have a solid thing. So in Agile there is spike stories are there where they will use those stories to experiment. So based on that, this particular option is more leaning towards that. Okay, so that is why we have chosen B, and we can still further discuss on this question, but B is more aligned towards the agile concept of spike stories, utilization of spike stories, and PMI's conflict resolution technique. Okay, where they go in for collaborative approach, right? Okay. So next question, at RoboGrain Mobility, two robotic navigation engineers, Asha and Kelvin, disagreed last sprint about sensor handling logic. They now avoid each other, exchanging minimal updates during stand-ups. Other developers are uncomfortable raising the issue, fearing it may worsen team morale. Over the last two sprints, throughput has noticeably declined, and the Scrum Master suspects unresolved interpersonal tension is hindering collaboration. What is the most appropriate first step? Create a private, structured conversation with both engineers to surface underlying concerns, explore perspectives, and work towards mutual understanding before determining what suggest that team reflect on the situation during informal hours and allow natural self-organization to address the tension. See develop a preliminary conflict response outline and present it to the engineers later for refinement. D rotate pair programming assignments so both engineers interact gradually, allowing relationship repair to emerge over time. Yes. So I'm just reading the comment section, and yes, when you're typing the answer, put the question number and then type the answer. If you can give justification, like one of the viewer is doing, so it will be more good from which perspective you are choosing that answer, right? Okay. So for this question, let's go with what is the most appropriate first step. So this question is more dealing with a conflict between two members in the team, and that has noticeably declined the throughput, that is the output of the team. And the team is also not comfortable raising the issue because it may worsen team morale. So what should the Scrum Master do as a first step? So among the options, A is like more towards addressing them in a private conversation where they discuss about this thing and surface underlying concerns, explore perspectives, and work towards mutual understanding before determining what, if anything, needs team involvement. So even before involving the team to come and act upon their thing, they are first creating a private conversation between two members is most ideal for the PMI frameworks alignment. Okay, but we have to rule out option B, C, and D before that. So option B suggests team reflect on the situation during informal hours and allow natural self-organization to address the tension. But that's what been happening, but it has been happened on last sprint until now. They have not done the self-organization to address the tension, and so this cannot be a right option. C, develop a preliminary conflict response outline and present it to the engineers later for refinement. It is not between the entire team, it is between the two-person, and it has to be, the first step is to address them privately and then put them in the charter or team agreement, okay, social contract of the team, and to tell them. So still A takes the precedence. D, rotate pair programming assignments so both engineers interact gradually, allowing relationship repair to emerge over time. This is like more of a reactive resolutions, which is not ideal for this situation. Okay, so we are going with option A. So the next question is, at Sun Vantage Grid Systems, the team is halfway through a sprint. They are in the mid-sprint, focused on building a solar forecasting dashboard. The product owner wants to incorporate two urgent user stories linked to a government pilot. The development team lead indicates capacity is fully committed and past mid-iteration changes cause unfinished work and eroded trust. The discussion grows heated and sprint goal clarity is at risk. What should the agile leader do first? Explore the PO's objectives with the team, reviewing sprint commitments, capacity, and trades-off, while considering whether any existing items could be responsibly swapped to maintain focus. B, suggests that the PO integrate the team's capacity feedback and explore ways to reorganize backlog direction, encourage a full backlog reprioritization effort to identify any discretionary task that may free up limited capacity for the cycle. D, proposed that the team accommodate the new work by adjusting the sprint goal to remain aligned with the emerging business urgency. Okay, so here they are in the middle of the sprint, okay, and product owner comes with two urgent user stories, which is linked to government pilot. So they are working on the solar forecasting dashboard, and there is a requirement, that is the catch here, because the keyword here is he's coming up with two urgent user stories linked to a government pilot. So that means those two user stories takes high precedence when it comes to the entire sprint goal. Okay, so now that is the catch here. Okay, if this is not given there, then the options might be different. So now you have to catch this and then move towards the option. Okay, So the development lead, which is the team which is working, is saying that they are full and they are in middle of the sprint, and if any changes is going to come in, will disturb their work. So one of the agile principle is something which has more precedence of user stories, priorities. Okay, more prioritized user stories comes in mid of the sprint. So always the team can work with the product owner to see whether some of the current sprint user stories can be moved to the next sprint to accommodate this. So this is most of the agile questions approach. When there is a mid sprint going on and the user stories which has a high priority comes in, then they will discuss with the product owner to take away few of the existing sprint goal user stories. So this is the team will work which they will work for the sprint, but when there is an urgent requirement from the customer side or the government side, or any regulatory side, governance side, so these will take precedence. Okay, so with this in mind, let's go to the option A, explore PO's objective with the team, reviewing sprint commitments, capacity and trade-offs, while considering whether existing items could be responsibly swapped to maintain focus. Yes, as we discussed even before going to the options, yes, this is more of a PMI's agile framework. Okay, so this is what PMI wants. So this is more of aligning towards that. So B suggests that PO integrate the team's capacity feedback and explore way to reorganize backlog direction. So here, so this is like after exploring, after discussing with the team, explore way to reorganize backlog direction. But this doesn't say like how they are going to reorganize. So it is like they have given it on surface level. This also, both doesn't have much difference, but have small difference. So still here it involves the team, and also they are reviewing their capacity and trades off, and then considering so it gives you a complete solution for all the situations that is being highlighted in the question. This is a very high level solution for that. So PMI will have in exam, they will have two answers which is right, and you have to do more relevant answer. So when compared A and B, A stands more relevant to this question, addressing all points. So when checking C, encourage a full backlog reprioritization effort to identify any discretionary task that may free up limited capacity for the cycle. Again, this is also addressing the same first option in a different words. So here it is not involving the parties or the stakeholders mentioned in the question. It is not having the PO here, not mentioning about the product owner or the team. So it is like here the option is incomplete. So it says whom to encourage a full backlog reprioritization effort. So they haven't explicitly mentioned here. So see how closely the option can be. D, propose that team accommodate the new work by adjusting the sprint goal to remain aligned with emerging business urgency. All four options are almost right. So this is a question which is really challenging for people who are attending. Okay, A, B, C, D all talks about reorganizing or reprioritizing the backlog, discussing which can be taken into, which can be considered. So still, as we saw, this particular option includes the members, the stakeholders, and how they are going to do it. They will be reviewing the commitments, capacity, and state. Still, option A stands with a complete 100% addressing of all the pain points. So that is why we are choosing option A as the right. Okay. So yes, to increase the difficulty level of the exam, PMI can come with this kind of a question to let you think about how completely you can answer the question for choose the options from the questions. Okay. So moving on to the next question, sorry. At Intrasure Analytics, two team members, Rami, underwriting model analyst, and Juno, API integrator, begin blaming each other during the daily scrum for an integration failure involving a new risk scoring model. The tension derails the meeting. Past retrospectives highlighted communication inconsistencies but offered no concrete follow-up actions. The compliance officers recently warned that inaccurate scoring outputs could trigger regulatory reviews, increasing sensitivity around the defects. What is the best immediate action? A. Shift the conversation towards understanding systemic causes by setting up a focused follow-up discussion where both members and relevant stakeholders analyze integration pathways separate from the stand-up. B. Allow the debate to continue briefly to promote openness, passing only if team discomforts escalates beyond control. C. Involve the product owner to evaluate accountability and ensure business impact of the failure is reconsidered. D. Redirect the stand-up back to progress updates while noting the conflict for later review. As I said earlier, if you can provide justification for your answer by eliminating other options, it will be good learning here. Okay, so here the question is about what is the best immediate action. So when a question is like this, the all options can be right, but in which sequence or order we are going to choose makes a difference. Okay, so here the question talks about there are two persons in the team who blame each other during the daily scrum for an integration failure involving a new risk. So there was an integration failure and each blame each other. Okay, so this is getting extended meeting. Okay, and when they have done the retrospective, what is the problem here? This is the keyword here: communication inconsistencies but offered no concrete follow-up action. So in the retrospective, they identified that there is a inconsistent communication, but after that there is no follow-up has been done. So this is the key catch here. So this is the problem here. So your solution should address this problem. This is the primary problem. The conflict is there in the daily scrum meeting because it has been identified that the inconsistency in communication was there, but that was not addressed or follow up after that identification. So it has to be resolved. The communication between this inconsistent communication should be resolved. So that you should look out for solution with that particular problems being addressed. Okay, so let's go to the options. Shift the conversation towards understanding systemic causes by setting up a focused follow-up discussion where both members and relevant stakeholders analyze integration pathways separate from the stand-up. So yes, when daily scrum is meant for three things: what was done yesterday, what is planned for today, and is there any blockers. So apart from this, if they identify any impediments or blockers, they will take that blockers to a separate forum and discuss, not on the stand-up meeting or the daily scrum. Okay, so this seems to be a complete addressing solution for this particular problem. But let's have to go to the option B, C, and D to eliminate, to see whether A stands still good. B, allow the debate to continue briefly to promote openness, passing only if team discomfort escalates beyond control. But here they are saying that they are blaming each other and the tension derails the meeting. So that means it's getting delayed. And this option doesn't have any solution for this particular problem. So we can eliminate that. C, involve the product owner to evaluate accountability and ensure business impact of the failure is reconsidered. Here, the problem is not with whether which approach they should take for the business. It is more towards that there is an inconsistent communication. So that is the major emphasis of the problem here. So option C can be eliminated. D, redirect the stand-up back to progress updates while noting the conflict for later review. This is also more shifting towards option A. See, this is very like, is not a complete answer like option A. If you compare option A and D, both are same. Redirect the stand-up back to progress update while noting the conflict for later review. But that doesn't cover with what is the systematic approach or how this can be done, who will be part of the meeting is not given there. So when comparing option A and D, option A has a complete solution for the pain points that is being highlighted in the question. Okay, so moving on to the next question, you can put in the comment section whether you are agreeing with the explanation or you need more details about it. So you can always put it in the comment section if you are agreeing with the explanation of each questions. Okay, so moving on to the next question, planning a sprint to improve anomaly detection in self-scan checkout devices. So half the team prefers story points to support planning consistency, while the other half believes ideal hours are more tangible for stakeholder demos. The Scrum Master notices planning has stalled and past sprint reviews showed mismatched expectation due to inconsistent estimation interpretation. What should the agile team lead do first? A, facilitate a conversation centered on the purpose of estimation and the need for consistent interpretation, guiding the team towards a consensus that improves predictability and aligns with empirical learning. B, explore organizational norms regarding estimation choices to see whether aligning with enterprise standards could simplify team decisions. C, support dual estimation methods with the team temporarily, converting values later to avoid delays. D, engage external experts to provide clarity on estimation frameworks that may influence team alignment. Sorry. Sorry for that. Okay, so this question is more towards conflict resolution, and as an agile team lead, what he will be doing during the conflict resolution. Okay, so the team is planning a sprint and to improve anomaly detection and self scan. Half of the team prefers story points to support planning consistency, while other half believe idle hours. So what should be as a scrum master do first? So mostly when it comes to conflict resolution, it is more towards collaborating, facilitating both the teams to come together, agree, disagree on which is best, which is the pros and cons, and decide on it, right? So option A is more towards leaning towards that. So collaboratively identifying and solving. Okay. So let's go to the option B. So here regarding estimation choices to see whether aligning with enterprise standards could simplify team decisions. This also have a proper solution for this particular problem that is being raised in the question, but it is not as complete as option A. So let's go to the option C. Support dual estimation methods with the team temporarily. This cannot be ideally done. The both the teams, which is half of the teams, has to come to a consensus on which they are going to go for it. So until then, they have to discuss with the valid points and come. So option C cannot be right. So you can eliminate that option. Option D says engage external experts to provide clarity on estimation framework that may influence team alignment. No, but this is a little bit not aligned with agile principles. Okay, here as the agile leader should facilitate and make the team discuss and come to a consensus. So option A has all those aspect of the solution. So we are going with option A for 36 question. Next question is, one good thing what we are doing is we are trying to solve big questions, so you can get an perspective of how to approach this question. Okay, so as Amir always used to say with the 7-step formula, first is slow down. There will not be any impact is going to created if you are rushing up, because we will not be able to capture the key essential keywords from the question if you are rushing up. So let's slow down and see this question. Okay, at Centrafort Cyber Devices, a global manufacturer of secure networking hardware, leadership is piloting agile delivery for new AI driven institution modules while keeping the legacy firmware program under predictive governance. Several senior executives, including the chief security officer and operations VP, are accustomed to waterfall oversight and question Agile's ability to maintain stability across regulated environments. They express hesitation about iterative increments affecting audit timelines and worry that flexible backlogs may compromise hardware certification cycles. Team reports that without executive confidence, alignment during planning slows significantly. What is the most strategic way for the agile project manager to mitigate this resistance? So let's go to the options. Craft an enterprise-wide agile transformation plan that mirrors existing control structures, ensuring leadership perceives minimal deviation from historical governance patterns. B. Present a multi-layer technology roadmap detailing firmware commitments while positioning Agile team as isolated innovation cells operating independently from legacy processes. Develop a targeted communication engagement strategy that highlights early value increments from Agile teams while tailoring messages to executive concerns about stability and regulatory compliance. D. Introduce leaders to agile dashboards and automated reporting tools to broaden visibility, allowing them to adopt agile governance practices without altering delivery approaches. So you can mention the question number and the option and the justification. Thank you. Okay, this question is more towards aligning a project which is very, very familiar with all the senior stakeholders with predictive. And when there is a need to pilot an agile delivery, how the resistance is being represented. So it is more of a strategy to bring the resistant stakeholder to supportive, right? This question is more towards that. What is the most strategic way for the agile project manager to mitigate this resistance? So let's go to the options and see whether this particular strategy or scenario, even though this is more of towards hybrid, let's figure out whether there is a solution for both the things to ensure that the concerns of the chief security officers and operations are addressed. Okay, it should be tailored in both the ways. So let's go to the option A: craft an enterprise wide agile transformation plan that mirrors existing control structures, ensuring leadership perceives minimal deviation from historical governance patterns. So here it is, they are already very much confused or resistant towards agile. And when you are giving them an enterprise wide agile transformation plan, uh, like not who are already skeptical about it, but that won't be having any good confidence from gaining confidence from the stakeholders to turn it out. So let's go to the option B: present a multi-layered technology roadmap detailing firmware commitments while positioning agile team as isolated innovation cells operating independently from legacy processes. No, this cannot be done. It has to go hand in hand. So this option you can eliminate at first place. Option C: develop a targeted communication and engagement strategy that highlights early value increments from agile teams while tailoring messages to executive concerns about stability and regulatory compliance. Again, as I said earlier, there was a stakeholder who has become resistant. You should come up with a strategy to bring them back into a supportive, to ensure that okay, this change will not have a bigger impact, and see, this is the evidence for it, or see, this is how we made it done. So this option talks about that. See, they are having a targeted communication and engagement strategy. What is the highlight of that is early value increments from agile teams. That is, early value increments means they will come up with early deliverables from each sprint, and that will be they will come with early value increments while tailoring the messages to executives like CSO operations about the stability and regulatory compliance. Even though it has come or on the agile basis that we have a development by parts, and then when they come to the stability and regulatory, they you will ensure that this is completely done. So option C is more towards a strategy to bring the resistant people or reluctant people to get involved, gaining their trust. Okay, option C has that. Option D: introduce leaders to agile dashboards and automated reporting tools to broaden visibility, allowing them to adopt agile governance practices without altering delivery approaches. So this is like, again, like option A, bringing them completely to the agile when they are hesitant about it. So it is like a transforming, the always it should be a transforming thing where you still keep certain things in the predictive to make sure that it is being achieved in the agile. So agile will be on this basis, they will be coordinating and then they will be working together to ensure that there is not going to be any problem with the regulatory and stability. So that's the reason option C remains a right option for this question. Okay, moving on to the next one. At Orbit Edge Networks, two Scrum teams are building separate interfaces to an aging satellite command core, which is still governed by a predictive migration program. The system integration lead reports repeated collisions in shared data pathways, creating rework and delaying both feature delivery and modernization milestones. Leadership is pressuring for immediate progress due to upcoming regulatory audits tied to network resilience. Historical retrospectives show teams discuss these issues but fail to visualize them collectively. What is the immediate priority for the agile practitioner? Establish a common integration sandbox where both teams work under unified architectural conventions, ensuring consistent implementation patterns. B. Form smaller cross functional groups to reduce communication complexity and limit how many components depend on the legacy command core. C. Conduct a rapid dependency mapping session with both teams and architecture to visualize, prioritize, and collaboratively address conflicting integration points. D. Present the issue to the CTO for additional staffing support and request accelerated architectural decision making. Right. Yes, as many of you mentioned in the comment section, yes, the right option is C. But let's always go with the elimination technique. Okay, so the system integration lead reports repeated collisions in shared data pathways, creating rework and delaying both feature delivery and modernization milestones. So there is a delay, and the leadership is pressuring for immediate progress due to a upcoming regulatory audits tied to the network resilience. So when they did the retrospective, the teams they discussed these issues, but they failed to visualize them collectively. So they didn't know the flow of the issue, or they didn't see in a perspective where this issue is coming up. So what is the priority for the agile practitioner? So a common integration sandbox where both teams work under unified architectural conventions, ensuring consistent implementation patterns. But here they are talking about shared data pathways. So they are working in the shared environment, and one team and the other team is not knowing what is the issue that is happening when they are sharing the data pathways. So again, here they are putting it in an integration sandbox where unified architectural conventions are being worked under. So this doesn't emphasize or that doesn't give about like solution for their problem. The solution is that the last line, historical retrospective shows teams discuss this issue, whatever the technical issue it can be, they fail to visualize them collectively. So they didn't see the integration between them. So if you see option A, somewhat it is saying like they have to work under unified architectural conventions, which is dealing with that. But let's go to the option B, form smaller cross-functional groups to reduce communication complexity and limit how many components depend on the legacy command core. This is again like you have a small groups again, then also you will see how many components depend on legacy command core. But again, this is talking about the how to resolve the technical problem of the question. So it directly involves as a action for the problem that is mentioned there, but the highlight is how you're going to architecture to visualize, prioritize, and collaboratively address conflicting integration points. So this is the right solution for the problem that is highlighted in the options. When you are like more towards a technical team, you know what the entire thing is given in the question, you will be thinking in that aspect to solve the question. But no, here the PMI comes with giving you all sort of problems, but you have to see it from the layman term, like what the actual problem is. So if you can figure out what the actual problem is, they would have given the keywords in the question. So identifying keyword is very, very crucial for picking the right answer for the question. So C seems to be like providing visualize, prioritize, and collaboratively address conflicting integration points. But we should eliminate D, present the issue to the CEO. Obviously it is escalation. PMI will never align with the answer unless it is like very critical and it is delayed. They will not encourage escalation. So option D can be eliminated at first place. Going on to the next question. At GridSphere Utilities, Agile teams are building predictive load balancing features atop infrastructure provided by a long-standing vendor operating under a fixed price contract. Okay. The vendor's delivery lead, Soren Malik, insists on large batch deliverables and resist participating in joint refinement sessions. The iteration reviews consistently shows misaligned interfaces and mismatched priorities. The program sponsor is concerned about delays but wants to avoid major contractual disruptions. What is the most effective next step for the agile project manager? A, replace the vendor with a more adaptive partner and initiate a competitive procurement cycle that supports agile friendly contract models. Renegotiate contract terms to incorporate incremental deliverables, shared refinement cycles, mutual incentives tied to iterative outcomes. C, invite the vendor to participate in a short proof of concept iteration to observe agile benefits without altering contractual expectations. D, seek legal guidance to enforce strict adherence to the contractual obligations, ensuring the vendor follows specifications regardless of agile timelines. Okay, so if you remember when we have dealt with procurement topic, when there is a conflict between the vendor and the buyer, so what will happen? First they will try to discuss and solve it, and they will be try to bring in a third person to solve it, and then if it is not getting resolved, then they will go for litigation, right? So arbitrary was before that. So this is more towards that, and you have to catch a point here. It is always they are having a fixed price contract, even though this is predictive load balancing features atop infrastructure provided by long-standing vendor operating under a fixed price contract. Okay, so the problem here is whenever there is a uh, refinement sessions, the vendor delivery head is not joining. Even the iteration reviews, whenever they are reviewing the iteration consistently, shows their misaligned interfaces, that what they are asking and what it is being delivered is not aligning. Always there is a mismatch in the priorities. So it is like we have already called the vendor lead, delivery lead so many times, even this scenario is happening. Okay, that is the key catch here. So that has been already done, and he is not been participating, and he is insisting on large batch deliverables, and he is not participating in joint refinement sessions where they discuss, and also in iteration reviews he's not coming up. So what can be done? And the sponsor is saying wants to avoid major contractual disruptions. That means you cannot remove them from the contract. So that is what that particular line says. So when you read the option A, it says like replace the vendor. Even in the first three words you can say that cannot be option, because the sponsor says they cannot avoid they want to avoid major contractual disruptions. They don't want to cancel the contract with the vendor. So option A can be eliminated. Option B, it says renegotiate contract terms to incorporate incremental deliverables, shared refinement cycles, and mutual incentives tied to the iterative outcomes. So here they are having a fixed price contract. Okay, so this is saying, okay, it's okay, we can go, because why the vendor is insisting on large batch deliverables, they cannot be providing in small batches and iterative or based on iterations, because it might need more refinement. So that might be the reason for resistance. Okay, so here they are saying, okay, renegotiate the contract terms. Okay, so to incorporate incremental deliveries, because previously it was predictive load balancing features, now they wanted to do it in iterations. So you can renegotiate contract terms to incorporate incremental deliverables, and then share the refinement cycles and mutual incentives tied to the iterative outcomes. So this can be one of the chances, best choices, to make sure the vendor is not on the fixed price contract. They can change the contract so that they get paid for even the incremental deliverables and incentives. So that might change the view of the delivery head. So it can be a good option. C, invite the vendor to participate in a short proof of concept iteration to observe agile benefits without altering contractual expectations. Here, the second part, without altering contractual expectations, and also you are asking the vendor to give you a POC on agile. I think again, the vendor is not showing up because of this particular reason, because since it is a fixed price, and it is they are asking for agile, so they are not okay about it. So you should always think about this also when you are considering selecting an option. Okay, option D, seek legal guidance. No, that is the last resort that you can do, but not for this question. So option A, D are directly eliminated. Between B and C, one thing you have to take in concern is like agile will have more of a refinement and increments. So when you have that, and when you ask the vendor to fix to be like a fixed price contract, they will not be encouraging that, or that is the reason that they have gone to resistant. So again, bringing back to them with another contract terms can make a difference in their approach or the resistance. So because of that, option B seems to be a better solution for this particular thing. So we are going with option B as the right answer here. So we have come to the last question of this session. Okay, at Medivi Telehealth, mid-sprint development of a patient triage UI revealed potential data privacy vulnerabilities flagged by compliance officer Neerya Shah. The product owner prefers to complete the sprint work uninterrupted to meet the engineering team is concerned that proceeding without addressing the flagged issue may jeopardize certification under regional privacy regulations. Past audits highlighted penalties for UI level compliance lapses. What is the most prudent step for the Agile project manager? A. Continue the sprint while recording the privacy concerns as an emerging risk to evaluate after regulatory clarification is obtained. B. Halt sprint progress and initiate a comprehensive compliance inspection across all portal components before resuming development. C. Bring together compliance, security, engineering, and the product owner in a rapid risk alignment conversation to determine implications and revisit sprint prioritization if necessary. D. Allow the legal department to interpret all privacy requirements and defer UI work until they supply a definitive compliance report. Okay, so this is like a very high risk project, right? So they are having a patient information, and when they are developing a mid sprint, they are finding that one of the requirement is like flagged and revealed potential data privacy vulnerabilities. So which is like a very high risk and high priority requirement, and if this is not fixed, then they will be facing penalties for UI level compliance lapses. So when this is there, the PO is saying, okay, whatever may be, please make sure that sprint work is uninterrupted. So in this situation, what as a agile project manager you will be doing first? Okay, so this is the keywords that we have gone through and we have captured it. So first thing is, no, continue the sprint. No, we won't. Yes, we have to, but it is not giving a complete solution like how you will be doing it. Okay, this is saying, okay, you continue as a agile project manager, you ask the team to continue the sprint while you just record the privacy concern to evaluate regulatory clarification. No, you have to make sure that this is being addressed in the sprint. Okay, so option A can be eliminated. B, you cannot halt the sprint progress, so it has to go on, but how, you have to determine it. So initiate a comprehensive compliance inspection. No, because they are in the mid sprint and they have identified this, so they need to check with all the relevant stakeholders, like from the compliance team, from the development team, from the product owner, you have to security team, you have to make sure that how you are going to address this particular issue. So this one cannot be a good option. C, bring together, yes, compliance, security, engineering. It is like a collaborative solution. You bring them everybody into the rapid risk alignment conversation to determine implications. So first you need to know what are the implications. They are highly, you have referred to the past data and said there will be penalties, but what you have to see how you are going to resolve this. So you will be determining implications, how it is going to impact, and then you will, if needed, you will revisit sprint prioritization, because you are having the team, product owner, and all the security and engineers together. So this seems to be a complete solution for the pain points that is mentioned in the question. So option D, allow the legal department to interpret all privacy requirements, and therefore you no, this is like delaying the work. You cannot be choosing this option. So we have come to the end of the session. C is the right option for the last question. So thank you so much for being in the session till the end. And I think next week, Monday, we will be coming again with another set of 5 questions to solve it. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
I would have not been able to clear the exam if Amir Ali would have not been here. I would have not been.
I did not believe that I will be able to clear my PMP within a month.
I don't know what to say actually, like I'm kind of like really
I got my results and I was above target in all 3 categories.
Wow.
So